I'm Vic Myers. Welcome to the Resistance. Yesterday, I talked about this log jam on our River Liberty, the one that flows into our lake called American democracy. And I described the consequences of when the jam breaks, but I didn't tell you about these logs. If you zoom in, you'll notice that some of the logs are much bigger than others. And some of the logs have been around a lot longer than others. One of the large ones is Section 702 of the FISA Act. It's been around since 2008. It's a surveillance tool built in the pre-AI era and now living in an AI environment where all of our data gets swept up and examined. Another large log would be the license plate reader cameras going up all across America. Another is the facial recognition cameras going up all over. These last two are great for tracking our movement. And then there's the private data collection that just about every business in America is engaging in. One of those logs is the practice of using all this data to do things like dynamic pricing. That's where businesses use your personal data, including your credit profile, your viewing habits, your search habits, and your buying history, to charge different prices to different people for the same thing. Another log is the one where employers use your personal data to determine whether or not you're desperate enough to take a lower salary before they offer you a job, or refuse to give you that well-deserved pay raise because they know you can't risk quitting. Every one of those logs represents a different way your data can be used against you. And if we could look up in this picture, we might see a very large and very dark storm cloud. That cloud is AI. Weather conditions are just right, and it's building bigger and darker by the hour. Thunder is rumbling through the sky, and that cloud is fixing to open up a deluge that is guaranteed to break this logjam. This deluge is made up of our local, state, and federal agencies, even our military, and corporations that are constantly learning new ways to employ AI with this data to their advantage, and too often to our disadvantage. There are people who have been trying to manage this logjam. For instance, there's people in the House and the Senate trying to put appropriate legislation in place to regulate AI. There's people trying to make sure that the FISA Act can't be used against us. And there are legislatures trying to implement regulations to keep AI from being weaponized against our communities and those who live in them. For instance, there's House Bill 261210 in Colorado. It would prevent corporations from using our data to employ dynamic pricing against us or pay us less because they know we can't say no. But for every person trying to clear the jam, the river keeps bringing more logs downstream. And there are those who stand in the way of managing it. There's the president and some members of Congress who used the 2008 national security argument to prevent federal regulation. There's anti-regulation zealots using 1900 thinking to keep states from being able to regulate AI. There's people like my opponent, Ty Winter, who went on record the other day with the anti-regulation argument to vote against the bill I just mentioned. He's using a 1926 philosophy that all regulation is bad, instead of living in a 2026 reality to protect the people he represents. We need more people managing the jam. I hope we can elect enough of them before that cloud lets loose. Thanks for listening. Good day.